Hello again, everyone. Welcome back to Adventures in Arcane Space. Once again, I am Dungeon Master AuldDragon, and the players are...
Hi, I'm Captain Higgimus. My Giff rank is Corporal First Class, and I play a Giff Fighter.
Hi, I'm David Big Mac Shepherd. I play Braxon, who's a first officer and in charge of making sure there's enough bread on the ship.
Hi, I'm Daikami-sama, and I play Solas of Ebha, who is half-elven cleric mage of Ogma, and basically the highest-ranking Celtic priest in Brawl.
Hey, this is James. I play Ockar, human paladin of Tyr, and I don't have anything funny to say.
Typical of a paladin, Lafdul matters.
Shut up.
I'm Levalithana, an elven wild mage, and she's the cook. She cooks the bread for Braxon.
Hi, I'm Zakad. I play Lafdul Mingblade, a specialty priest and thief multi-class of Vanilla. He is also the sole authority on mischiefmakers, because most of the time there's no one around. But no, his title is the dream maker and sculptor of fine humanoid specimens, because I don't know if the party knows that I've been working on poisons. Sleeping in paralytics.
Did you tell us?
I don't think he would, no.
I don't think he did.
You wouldn't tell us because Zocker would have a problem with poisons.
So would Solas.
Yeah.
Except weed killers and pesticides.
Yeah, that's what Lafdul's doing. His
Ocker's
research has got pesticides and how to kill vermin.
Ocker's just against poison in general, so if he figures that, he's going to be very unhappy.
Unfortunately, Sinrae cannot join us today. But the party was on Brawl. And I think there were some things that you guys wanted to do before you left.
Out of curiosity, now that has been brought up, how would Ockar tell the difference between me using a poison sleep in my dagger versus using my arrows? Because they both effectively do the same. Because he's not a poisoner. How would he tell the difference?
Unless he took the healing proficiency, I don't think that he'd be able to tell if you lied and said, "Oh, I'm just using my magic," even if you were using completely fun,
detect evil
non-magical.
Yeah,
detect evil intent doesn't detect lying.
And Ockar,
but using poison is an evil intent.
Depends on poison and how it's used. Like
it depends on the kind of poison too.
Non-lethal poison in a weapon just might be considered that as an
it's dishonorable.
Incapacitating enemy to capture them as a prisoner.
Using any non-lethal poison is dishonorable, which is why it's against most good characters' codes.
Yeah, and especially against paladin codes.
Is it just your church that deals with honorable combat, or is it all paladins?
Pretty much all
paladins. It tends
paladins.
to be most paladin churches, but Tyr is...
I think you got an emphasis.
Yeah, an emphasis on it since he's a god of war.
Alright, so any of you wanted to do things? I think Lafdul, you wanted to purchase some materials to mix up your poisons, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That will run you...
Because this is going to be like an ongoing cost, though, isn't it?
It will... Sort of. Basically, you'll have to buy in the amounts of doses that you want to use. And a dose would either coat, like, a sword, 2 daggers, or 5 arrows.
Alright.
So for a dose of paralytic poison, you're looking at 20 gold pieces for the materials. And for a dose of sleep poison, it's 30 gold pieces.
Okay. So I'm just making notes. I haven't detected the money just yet, but
Okay.
I will do.
Yeah, just feel free to. I mean, you can just write that down, and then anytime you want to buy more doses,
Yeah, that's
you can
what
just
I'm
deduct
doing.
that. Yeah.
5 arrows, 2 daggers, or 1
Short
sword?
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
Leva obviously wanted to do something, but she wrote down a note to that effect, but I have no idea anymore what she actually wanted to do.
You just wrote down that you wanted to do something, but you don't remember what it was?
I mentioned Iron Piece.
Hmm.
Question mark.
Iron Piece was the next destination for us.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
So probably want to research about something about it. At least that is what Solas is going to do.
We should be able to find some
That makes
information about
sense.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Solas is basically going to spend some time in the library trying to find out about the Iron Piece.
There really isn't anything in the library. What you can learn is more what people know. Like,
Well, talking with the Seekers, of course, about it also.
yeah, the Seekers will tell you basically the same thing that other people will tell you. Iron Piece is dominated by a colony of tinker gnomes.
Mm-hmm.
And that basically means that the rest is left unsaid. The main port there is on a lake. Let me see if I actually have the name of that lake. Give me a second.
Also, I inquire if Seekers have anything that they would like me to do in there.
I think it's something splash.
Yeah, I don't think I wrote it down.
Dunno.
Like Lake Splashdown or something like that. But
Yeah.
the major port is Port Walkaway. That's operates as the I mean, there's a number of far-flung buildings on the asteroid. It's a few hundred miles in diameter, circular flat world. But the main port is Port Walkaway on that lake, which I think it is Lake Splashdown, but I can't remember, and I did not make a note of it. But when you mentioned to the Seekers, like, is there anything that you want me to do there? They kind of like give you an odd look as along the lines of, you're actually willing to go to a Tinker Gnome community. I mean, they're all about getting information, but there are limits.
Is there any
no,
information
no.
about what's on the underside of Iron Piece?
Nothing that anyone really knows. People who go there basically just go there to trade with the Tinker Gnomes.
Or maybe we can find that out.
Oh yeah, you can certainly find that out when you get there.
What type of things are the Tinker Gnomes? Do they trade with the Tinker Gnomes for?
Any sort of machinery, as well as machine parts. While the Tinker Gnome's machines oftentimes don't work or don't work as intended, they have to have
What do you
precision
mean? We got a
parts.
perfectly functional one on our ship.
That just hasn't failed yet. They have precision parts, so if you need high quality like nuts and bolts, screws, any sort of machined part, they are definitely the people to go to.
Oh, would that be good for ship supplies?
Not really, unless you have
Okay.
machinery on board, which you don't really have much.
Fair enough.
But it's also, I mean, they produce other things too. Um, so you can stock up on Spaham there.
Oh yeah.
Did you guys just want to get going, or was there anything else that people wanted to do
Is
before
there
you leave?
any maps of the Iron Piece?
There's a pretty basic map indicating where the lake is and where Port Walkaway is.
I make a quick copy of it if I'm able.
Okay, it's pretty obvious. It's the top side is dominated by that lake. So there's it's pretty obvious. But you make a note of where on the lake is where the port is itself on the lake.
Yeah.
Okay. So you guys want to get going?
We
I
got the ore, or not the ore, the wood that we needed, correct, for the ship.
Yeah, we got plenty of wood. I don't know if we want to leave some on the asteroid.
Did you deduct the cost for it already?
I did. I stuck it on the
I
sheet.
think I did. Yeah,
Okay.
I did. It was on there. I did. Well, is there anything else of note that we should know about this asteroid we're going to, or planet? Is it a planet or asteroid?
It's basically a planet. It's a small planet, but it's a few hundred miles in diameter. But it's in the asteroid
flat-
belt.
It's
Is
a
there
flat
any,
world.
Yeah, it's a flat world.
what's our goal here? We have to.
Our goal is based on the riddle we got from the oracle. It was that we would need to go and speak with the Tinker Gnomes because they can see basically our destination in their night sky.
Oh.
So
So-
through one of their telescopes.
Well, we need to go and try to find out.
Well,
What
we
they
don't
see in their
exactly
night
need to
sky.
talk to them. We could just swing by and just take a look at the night sky in port.
Well,
They might see it with some of their inventions and rather than plain eyes. So I think we need to speak with them.
Could somebody pin the comment or pin the riddle? Or
I will do
poem?
that. Just a moment.
You copy
There's
and
been
paste
so
it
much
into
stuff.
the player's doc.
And yeah, that's a other option.
why not do both?
Because there's already a bunch of pins.
Yeah.
Which I should probably look through and see if any of those need to be removed. All right, so you guys.
Oh, wait.
Yep.
Wait. Can I run by Bellas, the rock merchant, if he's there? Because I wanted to know why this strawberry red triangle gem was unusual.
Okay. So in
I'm
the
looking at
in the
the
few
photo.
days that you're here
Yeah.
on Brawl, you stop by the gem merchant Bellis, I believe his name was, and he tells you that it's a red parrot, which he's never seen before. Like it
Yeah.
matches up in terms of hardness and all the other things that you would use to check what type of gem something is. But it's red, and he's never seen one of those before.
I come up with a price. Does he agree? Disagree?
Do you have a
Sorry to
price?
fig- 1,000 gold.
That's what you're gonna offer?
Oh no,
Um,
I'm not selling it. I'm just curious to know. I think this is a bit beyond me. I'm thinking it's worth around this. Not sure if you're going to sell it yet, but it's not very often you come across one of these. Someone might want it at some point.
He says that he couldn't pay quite that much, but
Yeah.
that might be around the price of it.
No, that's fine. I could run it, ask Levy if around the Mage's gear, because it's an unusual gem. They might pay more for it in the Mage's Guild or Solas, since I suppose they're both members.
I would think mages are generally broke all the time.
It might fit an enchantment, a red paradox, which is an extremely rare
The wealthy
component.
mages are the ones that make magic items.
I mean, you could get the same price from them.
Alright. Is it paradox? Never know how to pronounce.
Peridot.
I was doing PA.
Okay. Anything else that you guys want to do before you leave?
Oh.
I think Sinrae would have seen if there was a message.
Yeah, I'm gonna say that she did, but I'll handle that with her.
Yeah.
There'd be plenty of messages for her to take to Iron Piece.
Did we check at Higgimus's office to see if anyone's left any messages for us?
You would have, but there's nothing of note. It's just the usual stuff that.
Higgimus not a sergeant yet.
Nope.
So disappointed in our captain.
Let's see if there's any rumors or rewards for pirates in the area of the Rock of Brow.
Yes.
Pirate activity has gone up. There's so you get some lists of the known pirates. But is there anything to you that would stand out if you saw it?
Well, there's some certain groups we've worked for before.
Right. No, what I mean is like, so.
What was the ship that we saw running away from us?
That funny-colored wasp.
It was a wasp.
Oh yeah, let's see if
unusual
that's
colours.
Is there anything about that might indicate that ship?
There are some reports of pirates using wasps. They are not new, however, but no one's claimed a bounty on them, so they're apparently just long-term pirates who've never been caught.
Is there anything about since it had strange color?
There's some information about that, but no reliable sightings. In part because the only people apparently who've survived their attacks, they don't usually leave survivors. So the only survivors have been ones who managed to hide on their ships, kind of thing. So.
But at least we know that it might be some pirate ship then.
Yeah.
More likely.
So they're more reavers than the sort that board you and demand you hand over your cargo.
Is there like a?
Yeah.
I suppose the Brawlian Navy would give out acts of marque or whatever. Is that acts of marque? I can't remember.
Well, letter of marque, but it.
Yeah.
To a certain extent, there's just standing rewards for anyone who brings in or eliminates and can prove it a known pirate that's on their list. Yeah. Letters of marque would usually be more for privateering.
Yeah, and we'd have to earn one of them. We got good standing in the lower city, and we've helped out the navy, but the middle city don't seem to like us.
Or a high
Does the
city.
list have names for the pirates?
They do, but I don't have any lists for you right now. It's more like if you encounter, cool. I've got some like random encounters of pirates and stuff like that. But
okay.
So if we meet a random encounter, you could say whether it's one of them or not.
and by not giving you the names right now, I can use those in other crystal spheres if you haven't encountered them yet.
Yeah,
no, that's good. That's good.
But basically, since we asked about the pirate activity, one thing we could do is that say that we have a list of those known names, and if we know that we defeat one of them, we know to collect bounty of them.
Well, Braxon's going to go and ask a similar sort of question to the Seekers if there's any slavers. Not the Seekers, the Pragmatic Order of Thought. If there's any slavers operating in the area. And he'll offer to take Lever if Lever wants to go.
Just Lever.
Yeah, because some people don't like the Pragmatic Order of Thought. on account of the fact we had a spy on board.
Yeah, I actually know he was a bit bitter about it because that person killed one of the priests of my pantheon.
Yeah.
So they don't have any concrete information. There obviously are, and they're pretty sure that there are some slavers who work out of Brawl, but they haven't been able to get concrete information on them at this time.
Oh, well, I think we'll make the offer that if there's any assistance we can provide, tracking down people and getting them thrown off Brawl, we might be able to do that.
They kind of say, standing offer rewards for helping us eliminate slavery on Brawl kind of thing, so.
Yeah. Do they know if there's any rumors of slavery on Iron Peace?
None that they've heard. Tinker Gnomes are pretty averse to slavery. One thing that Tinker Gnomes, so you would know this especially because you learn their language, so obviously you've had some contact with them. Tinker Gnomes all have life quests, and they kind of assume everyone else does too, to a certain extent. And slavery would, to their mind, it's like, but if someone was a slave, then they wouldn't be able to do their life quest, and that doesn't make any sense.
I wasn't thinking of Tinker Gnome slaves. I was just thinking if anyone was operating.
No one really wants to operate out of Iron Peace. Because the Tinker Gnomes are everywhere. With some exception, the Tinker Gnomes are, if you can bear it, they're pretty good employers. And they're also good customers. So there's a lot of merchant activity, and there's a fair number of mercenaries who act as security and stuff like that.
Okay. All right. Braxton to thank them.
All right.
At this point of time, since Solas has never encountered Tinker Gnomes, all he has to go by is stories that the people have told him.
You have most certainly encountered Tinker Gnomes on Brawl.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you may have to a certain extent tried to avoid them as much as possible, but you have most definitely encountered Tinker Gnomes on Brawl. There's a community of Tinker Gnomes.
Is there a Tinker Town on Brawl?
Not exactly.
Solas is an engineer, so he would be fascinated by their machines.
If Solas has 5 minutes, Braxton can teach him how to say hello in Tinker Gnome.
Oh,
I'm not sure. I'm not sure that you could teach him how to say hello in Tinker Gnome in 5 minutes.
All this just makes me want to make a Tinker Gnome character next.
Yeah, I'm not sure hello is actually that short.
It's just like how much Lafdul hates ducks and ravens apparently now, and Higgimus will be devising ways of how to dispose of this Tinker Gnome on the ship. It won't just me wanting to kill someone for a change or something.
Wanted to kill someone?
They made a
accident
machine for Higgimus.
No, Higgimus just wouldn't want to deal with them. They're fine and all, as long as they keep to themselves and do their own Tinker Gnome things away from Higgimus. They're very small and very busy.
Yeah. Oh, any
Indeed,
of
indeed.
the those gnomes that were on the scaver ship weren't tinker gnomes, were they? They were other sort of gnomes.
Yeah, they were rock gnomes.
Okay. Fair enough.
Their stuff actually works.
Yeah, they're gnomes that don't speak the proper language.
Actually, a pretty hefty number of the tinker gnomes in space are Nemoi rather than Minoi, so their stuff tends to work a little bit more often.
Yeah. Well, I suppose we'll go unless we need some more supplies.
Okay. All right, so you you board your ship.
What's a little bit more often in numbers? Like 15%, 20?
I'd have to go back and look at the specifics.
Okay.
Since no one's playing a tinker gnome, I don't have that information easily
How long
available.
does it take for us to get to thingy?
It'll take about 2 days.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's in the same crystal sphere.
And I would say that it would take you a day to brew up a batch of a dose of poison. Whichever batch you want to brew up. Lafdul.
Oh, so
It's mostly letting it, like, brew, though.
distill,
So,
whatever.
yeah, distill or,
I don't know.
yeah, however it's actually doing.
I'm tempted to either get etiquette or healing next time I get a non-weapon proficiency. Just healing so I can tell when he's using this stuff.
Keep in mind, healing
That seems
is...
awfully niche.
Yeah, that's also awfully metagamey.
Also, so I can help heal people.
Keep in
Oh.
mind, the healing proficiency is 2 slots.
True.
And it's off. Actually, is it main class or off class for you?
I'm pretty sure paladins have access to the priest proficiency.
Yeah, I get access to like warrior and priest.
No, that means you get astrology and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Stuff that I've not looked into, to be honest.
All right. So you guys get aboard. You get your crew together and push off and begin the trip to Iron Peace.
So what's the odds that we run into a devil while on the ship? You know, or traveling through space, you know, we just get gated into one of the 9 hells.
That's...
Lafdul makes small talk. This wasn't a serious question.
Well, let's see. Do you? You don't know.
You know,
I am going to need a saving throw versus spell from everyone, though.
I see.
Uh-huh.
Give me a second.
Hopefully. What is it? Armor based or is it mental charm? Whatever.
It is. It is your armor is not going to benefit. The
Is it?
armor only benefits saving throws against physical attacks. That
Is it?
armor could theoretically block, so it doesn't have any effect
That's
on
why I
gases.
wasn't sure what nature of the spell. That's what I was asking. Is it mind affecting for me?
No.
Is it lawful?
No.
Damn it! Getting
Thankfully,
the saving throw
I have the magic ring protection,
Yeah,
so
rings work.
it's +1.
Save versus spell.
Mine is 13.
Yeah, mine's
And
30.
I pass. Higher's better.
High is better. Oh, we're trying to go over and not under.
hmm
Yeah.
So the second watch is unaffected. Who's on the second watch as well?
I don't know. I can't remember, so I just rolled.
I think it's a levy, or no, it might be an Ockar actually.
Looks like everyone succeeded. Okay.
Sounds good.
Wow, we don't know what happens.
Nope. All right.
Yep,
So
I'm just that good.
Solas will, during the travel, do his duties of Ogma in the ship and ask if there are crew members who want to learn to read and write.
okay. You get a few takers.
He will
And
start teaching them once he have time.
all right. So
No.
Just set aside material for them to start reading on.
Yeah.
Alphabet.
Lafdul,
Yeah.
we should try and exchange languages again.
I'm not learning anything else, but what exactly were you after?
You want to learn Common, read and write Common.
I already know how to read and write, and I couldn't read and write in Elven. No, Common. Yeah, no, that's what I learned off you.
No, you were in Elven. Leva was in Common. Leva learned to read and write in Elven.
You need to speak in Elven. I can teach you that, but I don't need to.
Solas can teach anyone to read and write Common or
Hold on. I believe Lafdul leveled up and got a proficiency slot, and he took his proficiency in reading and writing, correct?
Yeah, that's what I did, because my Elven spar was...
But
Elven
Leva,
was free
you have not, correct? You've not? Okay.
Correct.
So, Lafdul, you are still teaching her to read and write Elven.
Yeah, alright.
Lafdul, thank you so much.
If you went to Solas, you could get a discount.
Actually,
she doesn't want to learn the discounted language.
Solas is actually teaching the reading and writing as free of charge because it's his divine duty.
There you go.
Well, it was free of charge with Lafdul too. It was an exchange. He learned mine and I learned his.
Right.
So there was no money exchanging hands.
Generally, I wouldn't charge anyone for teaching proficiency anyway. I don't think any of us do, really.
Mm.
It's just whether or not we got the time to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And since I'm just waiting around for my poisons to kill this crew on the ship, then yeah, I've got plenty of time.
You should test those lower poisons on yourself. After all, you have the ring.
Well, the sleep poison I wouldn't be able to test on myself. It'd be very expensive considering the amount of sleep poison I would need to know if it works.
Lafdul only charges his friends for horse-related items.
Lafdul saw nothing wrong with the situation. That's why he was like, no, there's nothing wrong. You want me to... No, this is a personal favor here you're asking of me.
Favor, huh? And yet you took money for it.
You know what I mean.
It was an exchange, a fair exchange. There's no favor involved here. By the way, how is your duck?
What duck?
Okay.
You mean the one that Sinrae probably took, or Solas took?
I don't have any ducks.
Well, Lafdul's gonna assume you've taken it, and he's just gonna mention it in here. So he's spreading rumors.
Do you mean the duck in the treasure?
No, Leva carves wooden ducks occasionally.
Yes, carves. The trip to Iron Piece is uneventful, and as you draw close, you can see why it was called that. It is near as you can tell, a perfectly circular, flat world, and fairly thin too. Definitely seems to have proportions similar to a coin. And from a distance, it's kind of a dark gray color, but as you get closer, that kind of reveals itself to be a dark green with gray mountains around it. It appears that it was some sort of trick of the light, but you can tell now why it got the name Iron Piece.
Interesting.
So would Braxon know that they have iron money where no tinker gnomes come from?
Maybe. I mean,
shall I roll?
No, it's fine. I mean, it's up to you, I guess. It's not that big of a stretch to think that, maybe they think of it as an iron piece. Maybe other people would think of it as a silver piece, kind of thing.
Looks a bit more like a
very
copper
tarnished
piece you left out for too long.
A very tarnished silver piece. But
Does it look kind of green?
well, as you get closer, it's green, but from a distance, it's gray.
Yeah, Ockar says, looks more like a copper piece to me. One
Can
that
we-
you leave
can we
out for way too long and it goes green.
Is it flipping over as we're approaching?
You are not really. I mean, it does rotate, but the approach that you're coming in at is taking you towards, once you figure out which side has the lake on it, you kind of make your way there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. So you see on the side with the lake, you set yourselves up to go to that. A long lake that's rather off center, and it appears to be surrounded by hills as you're getting closer. And the rim of the world appears to have a mountain range around it. And again, this is reminiscent of the edging on a coin.
Oh, what, like milling?
Well, kind of. I mean, it's like if you look at a coin, a lot of them will have a raised edge.
Mm.
I'm not talking about the serrated edge.
Right.
But you can also make out now that there's a lot of docks in the lake, but the largest set matches up the map that Solas made a quick copy of for the location of Port Walkaway.
Yeah, and I of course have shown the map to the rest of the party.
Okay. Lafdul, would you be in your quarters most of this time? Like working on your poisons and everything?
Yeah.
Okay. When you go to leave, you find a wooden duck sitting in front of your door.
Oh, in front of the door.
Mm-hmm.
Then I levitate the duck and I place it in front of someone else's door.
Right.
One of the,
How many doors
now-
are there on Lafdul's deck?
No, actually I don't know because I haven't seen the ship plan in ages. I just do it in front of the spelljamming crew quarters. Just leave a duck there. They can figure out the mysteries of the duck.
You have... Sinrae is the only person on your floor, on your level.
Is it?
Yeah. I mean, there's a
the
helmsman,
crew.
and then there's
Yeah, that's what I meant, the helmsman.
Okay.
I'm just going to leave it outside of their crew quarters.
Okay.
Mm.
There's... Later you hear some comments about... from Nemerial wondering why there was a big, poorly carved wooden duck sitting out front of their quarters. Not that she's
carved,
asking
that's
you
gonna
directly,
hurt
but that's just something that you overhear her asking around.
Yeah. That's going to hurt the feeling of the duck perpetrator.
As you close in on Iron Piece itself, a trio of ships move to intercept you. Each one is different. They're fairly small, however, and it looks like they're very strange, and they also appear to be cobbled together in different ways. Braxon, you definitely recognize some pieces of wasps and dragonflies in some of them.
Right. So they're probably
Interesting.
Tinker-Gnome ships.
And they're also just completely covered in weaponry. You're pretty sure more than these ships, you're pretty sure that based on the size of these, they don't have the manpower to man them all either.
Yeah. They might break the wings off if they fired all the guns or something.
There is a light signal coming from the lead ship.
Oh, Braxon will signal back.
Oh, okay.
Or he'll read the message first.
All right, I'm going to need you to make a signaling proficiency check. It's going pretty fast.
-10.
Okay.
Too fast.
So,
Yeah, unfortunately, it's going too fast for you to make out.
Okay,
Isn't there
then.
like a word for slow?
Well, Braxton's going to signal, please repeat message more slowly.
Okay.
Let's roll for that.
They do so. No, once it's slow, then you don't need to roll a check. You recognize that the signal is first in Tinkergnomish and then Common. It's still pretty fast, but it is just, slow enough for you to make out. And the message indicates that you should heave to and prepare for an inspection.
Okay. So, Braxton to tell Higgimus we got to heave to and prepare for an inspection.
Is this normal?
Well, it's probably the local navy.
No. Ald, is that normal?
Give me an etiquette check. Yeah.
Ah, okay.
Some planets will do this, some don't.
Okay.
But yeah, this sort of thing is fairly normal, and the fact that Braxon reports to you that the message is in Common and Tinkergnomish, kind of, and you can tell that the ships are pretty clearly Tinkergnome vessels.
Okay. I will send a message to the crew to be prepared to let these people do their inspection.
Okay.
So you be bar away.
Braxton's going to signal back. We await. This is company of the Broken Sword awaiting your inspection party.
Okay. The two following ships kind of take up positions around you while the lead ship draws up next to you. And you can see that there are Tinkergnomes just swarming all over, preparing for docking procedures. It comes to a stop next to you, and you hear a loud clanking, steam whistles, and kind of a chugging sound, and a metal plank telescopes over to connect up with your main deck, and it just gives a light bump as it touches, and kind of a claw end drops down to lock it in place. Following that, about a dozen gnomes rush across, led by one wearing a mix of workman's leather, which is a type of leather outfit that gnomes oftentimes wear with pockets everywhere filled with tools and stuff like that. And that workman's leather is also mixed in with a vibrant, over-the-top parody of a Giff commander's uniform.
Lafdul approves.
He is carrying in his hands a very, very thick stack of papers, and an odd book-like device with unusual projections jutting out from all over. He recognizes you, Higgimus, as the captain, and comes and stands in front of you and says, very quickly, probably faster than I can say this, greetings, and welcome to the Technological Research and Development Facilities of Greater Nevermind, Port Walkway, Iron Peace. I am Patrol Subcommander and here's where I'm going to have a problem because gnome names are terrible. Thodlor Min Chorus, he kind of trails off after a bit, and it goes on for a long time as he's giving an extremely long name. Basically, all you can remember from it is the first part, Thodlor.
Folklore.
Thodlor.
Thoughtlore.
Yeah.
Okay.
Of the 4th Planetary Defense and Hamster Power Testing Fleet. Please state your business and declare if you have any strange fruits, vegetables, livestock, pets, monsters, humanoids, dragons, hamsters, elementals, or oozes that could bring plagues, diseases, parasites, or otherwise harm the delicate ecological balance of Iron Piece, or that could make our food taste really, really bad.
With that, my ear tuss will twitch quite a bit, and then I'll say, nothing to declare that would make your food taste bad. We're here for trade and sightseeing.
I guess I should declare Beowulf?
Yeah, I guess the pets.
Yeah, I declare the dire wolf I have.
Okay. He then
We have a sneak as
says
well.
really quickly, are you prepared for an inspection?
Yes.
He speaks in Tinker Gnomish to the gnomes who came over, and they start spreading out. It looks like each of them has a clipboard with sheafs of paper, and they begin taking notes on tons of things. Braxon, you would understand that he basically said, begin the inspection procedure, take notes of anything suspicious or out of the ordinary, or that has pretty colors.
Solas makes
Basically,
mental notes of intriguing designs of these Tinker Gnomes.
Oh, do I attempt to pickpocket a Tinker Gnome?
So once they begin doing that, Thodlor turns back to you, Higgimus, and says, "Now I have a short series of questions that I will need to ask to verify that you are not carrying any disallowed contraband onto our world.
Okay.
Are you carrying any appleberries from Miniel's Arch?
No.
What's an appleberry?
Do you
Would Lafdul
really
be here
want
for
to
this?
ask the Tinker Gnome that?
Yeah, I've never even heard of an appleberry.
He's already asked it.
So the Tinker Gnome then goes into a long spiel for you, Ockar, that it quickly is going too fast for you. You think he said that appleberries have a tendency to have a parasite that can give hamsters unpleasant gastrointestinal problems. But you might have gotten that very wrong. He might have also said that it makes gnomish feet stink.
Okay.
Hmm.
I think I got it. I think.
He turns
Wait,
back
what?
to you again, Higgimus, and says, "Are you carrying any Behir spleens from Greenshield?"
Hearing explains from Green Shield.
Yes.
Did we come across any of those?
We didn't kill any.
No, I don't think we've ever even met a bit here.
Nope.
Are you carrying any
we
milk
got-
cap stems from Anadia?
No.
So every time you're answering one of these, he's making a note on his sheets. Are you carrying any pickled pink piliferous parsnips from Lager's World?
There's a place called Lager's World?
I will turn
It's covered by
towards
Lego.
Leva and Lafdul. And said
Not
to you,
Solas?
Never heard of them.
No, I don't think I've heard of it.
Are you carrying
do
any
you have-
zygodactylic zygrats from Zivelin?
No.
No.
Okar's just getting more and more confused as we keep going.
Are you carrying any mauve daffodils from Taurus?
No.
No?
He continues
Are they used in
on.
cooking?
He would say that you probably wouldn't want to eat them.
Okay. No, in that case, no.
He goes on from there with a very, very long list of similar questions.
When did we enter a Space Quest game?
And every time he's ticking something off, and then he'll get to the end of a sheet and move on to the next. It takes a long time to get through, especially since you've already slowed him down considerably by asking him additional questions. Finally, he gets to the last question on the last sheet and says, "Are you carrying any alfalfa?"
I look over at Braxon. Are we carrying alfalfa?
I don't know what an alfalfa is.
No, it's
That's
food.
used for cooking. That's used for cooking.
Isn't
You
it
have any
used in
labor?
animal feed as well?
Well, you guys are in charge of the food stores, do we?
It's thickener. Is
That
it-
doesn't
have
answer
any
the
labor?
question.
We say we don't know. We don't think so. We might have.
Olds, do
don't
we
know.
carry that? I mean, it is a thickener and it is used in cooking, but is it used in our cooking as well?
You probably would not have any, no.
Okay.
Good.
So we say no.
All right, I'll repeat that. No.
Every time that you've said no so far, and you have said no so far, you have not carried a single thing that they're asking about. Also note that not a single one of them, one of the things that he's asked about is obviously dangerous. Like, never is he asking if you're carrying black pudding or anything like that. But at this last one, you see his face kind of get, turn down a little bit, and he says, "Oh, darn," and makes a note.
Huh.
Would
I
you have
think they
liked
would
some
have-
if we had?
I think they would have wanted some for their hamsters.
Bingo. Yes, Braxon,
We have some grass.
you would remember that you've heard that the hamsters have a fondness for alfalfa.
Well, that's a shame.
Would you
If
tell us,
Braxton would
Braxton?
If Braxton had remembered that, he might have bought some.
Braxton, would any of our grass do, or any stuff or any of the berries that we carry?
What?
They didn't ask
I
anything about those berries, although the gnomes have checked them out and made notes. They come back and report back to him. Unfortunately, Braxton, they speak too fast for you to understand, as they are giving their reports and filing back to their ship. Overall, it took about an hour and a half to get through all of that.
That's not bad.
At some point, I would have cast. Actually, no, these never mind. I was thinking of no customs, but I'm gonna do it when I go on Iron Spike itself.
Wouldn't you do it on that officer that we saw?
No,
You'll
I'd
do it
rather
on
do it on Iron Spike.
Okay,
Peace.
timepiece.
Iron Piece, sorry.
So at the conclusion, Thodlor turns back to you, Higgimus, and says, "Well, it seems that you are not carrying any contraband or prohibited substances. You are free to land on at Port Walkaway and have a pleasant visit." And then he returns to his vessel, and
Thank you.
they pull away.
Braxton says as he leaves, "Thank you very much for your hasty inspection in Sinkano."
Hasty.
You're not sure he heard because he was already talking to the other gnomes. One thing that you all have already picked up on is that when they talk to each other, they do not wait until the other has finished speaking.
So they all talk at once in one group?
Well, when two or more are talking to each other, yeah, they all talk. And that doesn't seem to bother them.
They can process speaking and talking at the same time and listening.
Yep.
Solas made mental notes about how good it would have that many tool pockets and such in his wizard's robe, and plans to make a magical wizard robe that can store infinite tools for engineers.
You could probably ask them to make you one.
Unfortunately, a non-magical outfit like that would probably interfere with your spellcasting.
Yeah, that's why it's to be
Yeah.
magical.
Why can I roll spellcraft to know what would happen if I use telepathy on that thing to them? Do they think fast or something?
You
Would
would.
I?
It would be a perfectly reasonable thing to guess that they think fast. Yeah. You don't.
Would it?
You think
There'll
that it
be no
might
adverse
give you
effects.
problems, but adverse effects are probably not a thing.
Inconvenient.
It's just more that you would have a difficult time processing it all.
Okay.
I mean, it really is just a case of they would think too fast for you to really process. So,
There is something I am going to do. I'm going to PM you.
okay.
It's nothing to do with Tinkernims.
Oh my.
No, it's nothing scrupulous.
Mhm.
He's going to
to
turn himself into a
pickpocket
tinker and
gnomes.
go back with them.
All right. Now you did fail to ask whether you could land the dolphin.
Well, the dolphin itself probably wouldn't be able to, right?
Yeah, the dolphin doesn't land, so we'd be going down on the.
Well,
hill.
they might have a one
They-
of those docking stations.
They might have
but
facilities, but you didn't ask.
We didn't ask, and I don't
Do we
know
want-
if I trust their facilities too. So all the better.
Okay. So you're gonna go down in the shuttle.
Yes, I believe
Yeah.
so.
Okay. So you board the shuttle and begin the descent to Port Walkaway itself.
Why did that come out separate?
Mhm.
Oh, well.
It might have been too long. I don't know if there's a
Yeah.
length limit.
There is a limit, apparently.
Okay, that's fine.
Mm-hmm. The other players can guess like half a sentence.
Yeah. As you descend through, you can see that the facilities are quite extensive. This is a pretty big port with sprawling buildings in all sorts of different styles and construction techniques. There are some buildings that are just kind of like low and rambling with what appears to be additions added on over time. There's a couple buildings that are tall, spire-like structures with odd protrusions. One actually looks like a leafless metal tree. But it's a pretty extensive facility. And there are a number of docks, although about half of the docks are filled as you are approaching.
Nice.
Getting a look over the docks that are filled, you see a bunch of small vessels in some of them. They're very odd. They have like about the size of an elven flitter, but without the wings. But they have cages on top and odd circles of blades in the back. There's also larger ships, many of which are clearly undergoing repairs from damage of various sorts. And then you see some also standard vessels. There's a galleon, there's a hammer ship, and there are two that look like birds on their belly.
Birds on their belly?
Yep.
Or what you mean?
Huh.
Birds? No, you don't mean birds that are upside down, do you?
No, I mean birds that are laying down on their bellies.
Right. Oh, like a duck
Um,
sitting down.
The damaged ships, what looks like to be the damage?
You don't recognize the configurations. You see one that it looks well. Give me a gunsmithing roll.
Gunsmithing one?
Yeah. Is that a pass?
I doubt it. I have to get below.
Yeah.
Below.
I
Yeah,
was
that's
Based
gonna,
off your intellect.
That's a pass?
I was going to say, should Braxon look to see if he can understand what the ships are?
Yeah, that's a pass.
Okay, you're pretty sure that one of them had an internal explosion out. Like, it kind of
Ooh.
looks like what happens if a gun misfires and the barrel explodes. Although
Oh,
it's
that's
not
unfortunate.
not a barrel. Something inside blew outward.
Something inside-
Hamster
oh,
power gone wrong.
And
Oh,
another
caused
one clearly had some sort of fire.
uh-huh.
Those two ships you don't recognize their configurations. They do not look like anything that you've seen before. One of them, the one that had the internal blowout, is entirely metal.
Oh, right.
And you bring your the shuttle down into the lake and sail into one of the open docks, directed by some gnomes on the docks using oddly glowing sticks.
Intriguing.
How convenient.
As you are, tying the ship off and everything like that, you can see a number of patrols of armed individuals patrolling the docks. There's one mixed group of humans and Giff. You see a group entirely of humans and another of Giff, clearly operating as port security of some sort. And there are gnomes everywhere as well. You are greeted by a gnome who runs over the port rules.
Mm-hmm.
You're not sure that you really got them all. He was speaking fast, and some of them were pretty esoteric, but...
Oh, could I cast no customs?
Sure.
I will attempt it.
Did Braxon catch all the rules?
There is a saving throw if it fails.
All right.
Negates it.
You do not catch them all, but you think you got the important ones. And the spell worked for you, Lafdul, so you can work as a backup. You got the important stuff. No pipe smoking around volatile liquids, for example. But then the gnome informs you that the docking fees will be 2 gold per day.
It's not
So
too bad.
You can pay the 2 gold to start, and then
Yeah.
deduct the rest based on how many days you're there.
Okay.
The gnome also directs you to the portmaster's office, where you can get kind of a general map of the facilities if you are interested in somewhere specific. The gnome also points out a walled-off area nearby that he indicates is the bazaar.
Oh, that's for shopping.
Yep.
Okay.
Solas asks if there is libraries.
He immediately goes into a list that it's hard to say. It's somewhere between 15 and 40 items long in terms of number of libraries. He was speaking a little bit too fast for you to be sure, and to be sure where things were broken up. In other words, there's
Solas asks
libraries.
if they are in the map.
He indicates that many of them are, yes.
Thank you. Solas will go look at the map.
All right, is everyone going to go?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just tagging along.
Okay. All right. So
Is there anyone that looks after our ship, or have we got some crew there?
you got crew.
Crew.
It takes.
Or is it different?
It takes a number of people to actually run the ship, and
Yeah.
generally you're not the ones actually sailing the ship itself. So yeah, the crew will be looking over it.
Yeah.
All right. So you make your way.
Braxon,
Yeah, go ahead.
Braxon says to the crew, if any gnomes come near, say we don't want any unrequested modifications to our ship.
You actually heard in the rules that that's the standard, that they don't.
Okay.
I mean, they'll offer, but they will not take it upon themselves. You think, and it's again hard to say, but you think that there was a situation in which they did that to a Giff clipper, and it was not a pleasant experience. That was the impression that you got. Higgimus, you're thinking to yourself that the Giff probably may have opened fire, but some of the rest of the party might be thinking that they caused some explosions. It's hard to say. He was speaking fast.
Ah.
Right.
So you make your way over to the harbor master's office and get a look at the map. It is a very complex map of the entire town of Port Walkaway, which is listed as a naval base and experimentation laboratory, and some other things. It has many, many descriptors.
This is a
Yep.
Tinker Gnome community, right?
Yes.
So what would their faith be? Something based on Kryn? There are any.
So looking
Rocks.
over the map itself, you identify two things that you believe might be temples. One is listed as Reorx's Hall, and the other one is listed as Nebulon's Workshop.
I probably wouldn't have heard of Riox. I might have heard of the other one though.
You probably have not heard of either,
Oh.
unless you've had dealings with Tinker Gnomes in the past.
Is
Do
it
they
Gone
have
to
a-
Wander or something?
Do they have more than this one copy of this map?
They do not.
Solas asks politely if it's okay to make a copy of this map so navigation in the city is easier.
The Tinker Gnome, the Tinker Gnomes there, all kind of in unison say that's fine, and then get back to their duties. However, this is a very big and complex map.
Yeah, I will. Solas will simplify the map. I basically make map that is that has the easiest routes to destinations that me and the rest of the party might be interested in going.
Yeah. And a lot of that is, fingers crossed that you did it correctly.
Yeah.
Um,
I can throw the proficiency test if you want.
not right now. I'll have you roll that if there's a specific place that you need to get to and you're not around this map, to see if you copied that down and stuff like that. So looking over the map, you can see that next to the bazaar is also a number of buildings that are clearly warehouses. Further into the city, you see what is something like an inn or a dormitory. Maybe it counts as both.
Oh yeah, one question.
Mm-hmm.
Is there an observatory?
Well, that's what you are looking over. you see the closest buildings are the inn, the bazaar, and the warehouses, and what appears to be a medical college and hospital. And then there are other buildings labeled, and you see things that are listed as dedicated to aerodynamics, chemistry, hydraulics, magnetics, perpetual motion, and various other subjects. Far more subjects than you can really get a good grasp on, and more than you can really easily take down on a normal sheet of paper.
So Solas makes a mental note of where he is going to be going on a holiday.
Lafdul makes a comment to Solas. Maybe you should come up with a spell that allows you to memorize a map.
Yeah. At some point.
Actually, that might be a spell that I might be able to see because it fits within the traveler sphere and the thought sphere. Maybe divination as well.
Maybe. All right, so you're going to look over the map to see if there's anything. You're looking for an observatory.
Yeah.
Okay. You do not see anything that is clearly labeled an observatory. Are you going to look for anything else? Anything else that you can think of?
I will ask about if there is any observatories in the city or nearby.
The gnome that you ask stops and says, "Oh, yes, you probably want the College of Astronomy and Soup Preparation Studies." He points to a spot on the map. It's off to the side of the city.
I thank the gnome and copy it in my notes.
Okay. Do you guys want to go there, or do you want to do something else first?
All right. So where were you looking for exactly here? We're looking for.
According to the oracle's clue, we need to go to the Iron Beast, talk with the small builders, and in their night sky, for in the night sky there they see that which you seek aglow with another sun's shed. So basically, observatory would be one of the logical places to inquire.
We're looking for another sun.
Well-
Basically, they should see it in their observatories and can point in where in the crystal sphere it might be.
Okay.
If it was another sun, it might be from their home sphere, but I don't think it would. The rhyme said we were going to Spiral.
Yeah,
Well-
but Spiral is the crystal sphere.
You remember your ultimate destination, right? Like the overarching goal of your mission?
Find a
Yeah.
forge.
It was to learn where the dwarven
Citadel, sorry.
yeah, and from the riddle it mentioned that from the forge to Spiral has it fled, and Spiral was this crystal sphere, if I remember correctly. Another name for Brawl space.
Okay, so do you want to go straight there? It's late afternoon at this point.
I would say that we could go directly there.
All right. How long do you think this stuff is going to take? Does it need to be nighttime, or I don't know how this stuff
Well,
works.
in the riddle it says that for in night sky there they see.
Hang on. Let's look at this. Let's look at this poem and deconstruct it. So, if they're talking about the night sky, that's going to be when Iron Peace is facing away from the sun. So, presumably, we're looking for something further out in our crystal sphere. That which you seek aglow with another sun's shed.
But basically, observatory would at least know how to at least give clues of where they might be, because observatories are used to study the night sky and celestial movements.
Yeah, so if we're looking for this dwarven thing, it could be that we're looking for a dwarven citadel that came from Forge space that's lit up, and the Tinker Gnomes can see it in the sky.
Yeah.
Might be that.
Was there...
So maybe we want to talk to a Tinker Gnome that has a list of objects in the sky.
So,
well, observatory would be one of those places.
Like, the dwarf sent you to recover an artifact that was in a dwarven citadel.
Yeah. So maybe it's still in the dwarven citadel, and the dwarven citadel has come here.
Yeah, that was what I was thinking about. And that it is visible in their observatories during night time or something like that.
But it's that line, aglow with another sun shed.
Yeah, I was thinking that might be like when what is it in English? Just a moment. When there is like solar eclipse or something that they see from the observatory.
Maybe. I mean, I was wondering if it just meant that it was it had light on it that wasn't natural.
That's also possible, but I think observatory would be our best first step.
Yeah.
All right, let's make our way there then.
Okay. So it takes you a bit of time to navigate the streets. They are very winding, and gnomes rush everywhere. It's not so much that they're small, because they're clearly designed for like cart traffic.
Yeah.
And
all the buildings small.
The buildings are smaller than you're used to in terms of their proportions, but not so much. There are occasional patrols of Giff and humans, armed Giff and humans, who mostly look pretty bored. But you know, they look over you kind of suspiciously as you go. Although the Giff, you know, once they see Higgimus, they're not suspicious anymore at all. But you have to frequently dodge rushing gnomes and the occasional cart, mostly drawn by ponies, but occasionally not. You don't know what they're powered by, but they make a lot of noise, clanking sounds as they go by. Every once in a while, you see a very panicked gnome on top shouting in Tinker Gnomish, and you have to dodge out of the way. And there are also waddling bird creatures wandering around too, wearing harnesses and stuff like that. You recognize them as Dowar.
Bird creatures.
Yeah.
I thought they were gonna be dodos.
They're about the size. They look similar to penguins, although I'm not sure that any of you would recognize a penguin. If you saw a penguin, you'd probably be like, "That looks like a Dowar."
Do we know what Dowar are already?
Yeah, they're pretty common merchants on Brawl too. Although they're also known for overselling their merchandise, shall we say? But they're clearly moving around, you'd guess, making purchases or arranging for goods from some of the various buildings and workshops. But you finally make your way to the College of Astronomy and Soup Preparation Studies.
Mm-hmm.
It is a fairly large building. You can see a dome on one wing, and the entrance of the building is done in a kind of an architectural style reminiscent of dwarven design. However, one wing has a very odd style that emphasizes curves and bright pastel colors, and the other side is drab and has narrow windows, and you see no breaks in the stonework. You're not sure exactly how they made it, but it's very plain and drab and kind of heavy looking.
Mm-hmm.
It's very much clashes with each other.
Fascinating.
Isn't yeah, never mind.
Go ahead. You have a question?
King Solas's pantheon, his Ogma has his allies within one of the Tinkernaps, isn't he?
Just because the deity has an ally doesn't mean that all the priests know who that is.
Yeah, especially since I'm from the Celtic pantheon version of Ogma.
Yeah.
The Faerun version or such.
And Nebulin is not well known on Toril, so you wouldn't know. You wouldn't recognize that name, Lafdul.
Yeah.
Alright.
So you gonna make your way inside?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The atrium is pretty fancily decorated. The floor is shiny marble, and it looks pretty new. It looks like the floor was recently replaced. But you see a wooden counter in front of you that sits between a pair of wide stairs going up to a second level. Doors also lead off in various directions. There's a tinker gnome behind the desk.
Well, I hint Braxon to come with me since Braxon speaks Tinker Gnome and go to the desk.
Braxon says, "Greetings, we are seeking information on an astronomical object. Are you able to assist us?"
The tinker gnome is clearly writing something down in a big, thick notebook as you approach, and without even looking up or stopping writing, he immediately starts speaking. "Oh, yes, of course, we can help with any sort of astronomical objects that you want to look at. Are you interested in planets? Are you interested in stars? Are you interested in Snargle Blacks?"
We're not entirely sure what we're looking at. We just have a
we're
vague
trying to
description.
find that old dwarven citadel thing, right?
Yeah.
Is there someone who, how should I say, would be able to give us a tour of the observatory and tell us the night sky of Iron Piece?
Oh, I don't know about a tour. We're all pretty busy. Tours take a lot of time, especially when you want to go over all the details and show off your models of the various rotating Snargleblacks that are all over the place.
Well, wait. Well, maybe. I guess we could just ask if you've seen what we're looking for in your night sky, and I guess we'll. Should we tell him? I guess we'll tell him about how we're trying to find that dwarven citadel.
Have they seen any changes in the night sky in, let's say, recent decades?
Billions.
He starts going into a long spiel about all the things that they've seen. listing names of little worldlets, some of which you've heard of, some of which you haven't, primarily in the asteroid belt. Slight color changes in the stars, and it's pretty quickly overwhelming your ability to comprehend what he's talking about.
After a couple of minutes, Braxon says, "That all sounds very interesting, but I think we need something more specific."
Well, you asked if there was any changes in the night sky, and I was just telling you about all the changes in the night sky, which is a very fascinating subject, especially when you want to focus on the Snargleblacks.
It is indeed. Well, what we're looking for is a dwarven citadel that has come here from another crystal sphere.
That gets him to stop writing and look up at you.
Do you have a list of asteroids in the local area? And other artificial or natural objects?
A dwarven citadel that has come here. That's a very interesting phenomenon. I hadn't thought about that being possible with the forges. It's very difficult to get them. Must have used some sort of superpowered hamster power wheels to get it to go between the crystal spheres. Do you think it would have taken 2, 4, 8 lifetimes? It would be interesting to see. That'd be an interesting experiment. I might have to work on that. What do you think would be the required number of hamsters that would power that? He continues on from that.
I don't think the dwarves used hamsters for this.
It's a shame. They really should use hamsters. Hamster power is a fantastic power source. It's unlimited, and so long as you keep giving them alfalfa, and they're very, very easy to take care of. Don't take much cleaning up at all. Just a few jettisons, and it's all off your ship, and you don't have to worry about it anymore at all. And he continues on talking about cleaning up after hamsters.
Braxon leaves it a couple of minutes and then says, "Well, we don't know, but if we manage to locate it, we might be able to find out. Wouldn't that be amazing?"
Wait. Hold on, guys. So that which you seek, aglow with another sun's shed. Is there anything else that looks like a new star or something that he's seen in the night sky?
He kind of goes off on another tangent about Snargleblacks at your question there.
May we use your observatory?
Are you an accredited member of the Astronomical Society of Mount Nevermind? And he then also lists a whole bunch of other accreditations that you might be members of in order to use the observatory.
I doubt being member of Seekers or
that was definitely not
the...
one of the accreditations.
How would one get accreditation like that?
Oh, well, I mean, the easiest way would be to graduate from one of our advanced courses here, or I suppose you could always go to Lyrax Cube. That they have some very good courses. It would only take you perhaps 2 dozen years or so to complete the courses.
Well, we don't have that kind of time.
So you sure you're not interested in discussing the Snargleblacks? They're a very interesting phenomenon.
What is the Snargleblack?
Oh, well, my friend, let me tell you. He immediately goes into a very long spiel that is completely over your head. It seems like a Snargleblack is some sort of invisible object that can't be seen or felt, but controls the gravitational pull of all the objects in space.
Hang on. Snargleblacks are invisible.
That leads him onto another tangent that lasts at least 15 minutes. And all of this is way over your head. Like, he's using terms that you've never even heard of. Some of which you're not even sure are real words.
Would Braxon have heard from Tinkergnomes that there was a Snargleblack moon around their homeworld?
No. You've never heard the term Snargleblack before.
Okay.
He's still talking about Snargleblacks.
I'm sure.
We're just gonna let him get out of the system.
Is it Is it possible to use the observatory with one of your members?
Somebody with an accreditation.
Yes.
Oh yes, yes. Certainly, if you bring someone by with an accreditation, they would be more than we'd be more than happy to fit them into the schedule. Unfortunately, he points to a chart on the wall that the writing on it is so cramped that you can't really make anything out. And he says, as you can see, the schedule is all booked up for months in advance. However,
Lafdul
God.
whispers something to Leva. Could you erase that?
Could I erase that? Why don't you just take a sponge and water it and erase it?
Braxon says to him, if we were to hire one of these astronomers doing research, would we be able to get them to show us?
are you asking to hire someone who is currently on the schedule, or are you asking to hire?
Yeah.
He tells
if we were able to hire someone who's already on the schedule.
He tells you, well, that would be entirely up to the individual if they want to use their precious observatory time for what you're paying them for rather than their own research.
Mm-hmm.
If it's for a good price, I imagine it could happen.
Yeah.
Braxon, you can... Oh, wait, you only speak Tinker Gnome. You can't read it, can you?
No.
I was going to have you read the schedule to figure out who we could ask.
Well, I'm sure we could ask him to read out the schedule.
Oh,
Might
no.
take a while.
Just get like the first 10 people.
You think that would definitely take a while.
First 5 people?
Or we get the short names of those people.
Oh, I mean,
Is there a way to get like a star map of the sky?
oh, we have many, many different charts of all the objects in the sky, as well as catalogs. He goes into a spiel about what types of things are available, and he frequently inserts comments about all of the Snargleblacks that he has personally discovered and cataloged in their
Is there a
catalogs.
maintenance day?
You're still invisible.
Maintenance is usually done during the day.
Is it possible for us to study these logs and charts?
Oh, yes, certainly. There's a library right back there. He points to a large pair of double doors. You can just speak to the
Are
librarians back there, and they'll be more than happy to help you with any kind of information that you need in our catalogs.
Are any of them read
As
in
long as
common, or are they all in Tinker Gnomish?
Tinker Gnomish is so much more efficient.
We're going to have to get translators. Okay.
That's what the librarians are for.
No? What do you want to do now? You want to ask him something else, or what?
Let's go to the library for now, I think.
Yeah, visit the library.
Look through the charts.
Okay. So you head through the door, and you are a little bit surprised by the library, in part because the library is clearly designed for more books than it currently has. There are many shelves, and only about a fourth of them are filled up right now.
That pains me.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's probably because they're always being loaned out or something. They're never being returned.
And they never returned them.
You do see 3 gnomes rushing around, pulling books off the shelf, putting books back. There's a book cart full of books that the one putting books back is taking the books from. They don't seem to pay you much mind, though.
Well, I will go to the nearest librarian.
Have a mental breakdown with him.
Okay.
So, what is this
And what do you say?
atrocity?
I will politely ask if is it he or she.
It's a he.
if he could help us in locating logs of the night sky.
Oh, you're looking for catalogs? Well, I can certainly help you with that. Come right over here. He takes you to a section of the shelving. This one seems sparser than the others. There's only about a dozen books. And he starts quickly saying what the books are. There's a book of planetary bodies. There's a book of ships. There's a book of asteroids. There's a book of stars. What kind of celestial objects are you looking for?
We are looking for a dwarven citadel that might have appeared in your night skies.
Ah, that would be in the Book of Ships. He pulls that down. It's a thick book. It looks pretty new, at least in terms of like what you're used to in a lot of these libraries in which books tend to be 50, 60, 100 years old in many cases. This one you'd say is no more than a few years old.
Mm-hmm.
And he waddles over to a table carrying this big book, and he, with a kind of an oomph, he lays it out and begins flipping through it. He says, "As you can see here, we have a list here of all the hammer ships that we've detected on our telescopes." He runs through other ship types as he's flipping through pages. Ah, here are the citadels that we know. Do you know the name of the citadel? Or the description of the citadel? I can match it up with one of the objects that we have listed here.
Did any mistake
We should
notes?
have the name from the dwarves. They would have told us the name of it, right?
That was like a month ago, though. We probably would have forgotten if we didn't write it down.
You didn't, huh?
Well, I wasn't able to write it down at the time. So
Let me
I
give me a second. I'm gonna search through the Discord chat.
But I do remember that they gave us some description of it. What that old dwarf could remember.
Well, I know it was something to do with a Gordel clan and the city of Modramen, but it's called the Knowledge of Stone.
Okay,
How'd you know that?
give me an intelligence check, Braxon.
Braxton's brain falls out.
Pretty
I
much.
don't know.
He failed a translation, bro. Can you roll proficiency for his language?
All right, you have the name. Unfortunately, he does not have that name listed. Higgimus and Solas, give me intelligence checks.
Yeah, I succeed.
Okay, Solas, you do remember a description of it.
Well, I gave the description to the librarian.
And it was a face of a dwarf, a bearded dwarf with a specific type of helm, and a hand sticking out of the top holding a flaming sword. And you give him that description, and he goes through the list of citadels that they have cataloged, and he says, unfortunately, I do not see that listed here. It could be that we had it listed before, but we had an unfortunate accident a few years ago. There was an attempt to prepare soup faster by superheating the water, but unfortunately it resulted in a slight thermal incident that destroyed most of our records at the time.
That explains why there's so little books in here.
That is the price to pay for scientific advancement, though. We learned quite a lot about fluid dynamics.
Maybe
No.
next time you don't test flames near books.
It wasn't the
Haven't we all?
flames. It was introducing vegetables to superheated liquids.
Haven't we all suffered the odd thermal incident?
Maybe still tell.
Do you?
do
I mean,
you
for every
know
step
your
forward, there
books?
have to be 2 steps back.
Do you know anyone who might have a copy of the old record?
No, unfortunately, I don't think we had a copy of it.
Or do you know anyone who might have studied these citadels?
Well, there was Gneb, but he accidentally perished in that superheated liquid experiment.
Anybody
I see.
else?
Unfortunate.
Oh dear.
Not one who studies the citadels specifically.
Was there any dwarven scholar that passed by recently that might have studied it? An off-worlder?
Not who had interest in the stars. You'd have to ask in one of the other colleges if there was a dwarf who passed by interested in their areas of expertise.
Do you know anyone who is actively studying these citadels?
Right now, let's see. He kind of ticks through a bunch of names on his fingers, and each one is like, this gnome. No, he's studying this other subject, and he goes through and finally says, no, unfortunately, I do not think that there is anyone studying Dwarven Citadels at this time.
Is there a list of objects that have not yet been identified that may be Dwarven Citadels?
Oh, no. Things only get added to the catalog once they've been identified.
You don't have a catalogue of things that need to be studied?
Well, no. Then if they haven't been studied, then they don't get into the catalog.
Okay.
But wouldn't you have a catalog of things that you plan to study later so that you can keep track of it?
That's in the individual scholars' notes.
Ah.
But what if one of those individual scholars dies and their notes are destroyed?
This gnome that was killed in the unfortunate incident, did he leave any notes behind?
They might be in the basement.
Well, how about we, if he had a life quest to discover information about Dwarven Citadel.
Oh, no, that was just his hobby. His life quest was creating the perfect tomato soup.
Ah, I see.
Unfortunately, it was, he was doing the experiment with superheated liquids. Yeah, you understand.
Do you
I'm not entirely sure
think that we
understand
could,
these life quests.
do you think we could have access to those notes, possibly?
Well, I'd have to get permission from the dean. If you'll hold on, and before even waiting for you to say yes, he kind of zips out of the room. And you're left waiting there for about 2 hours.
Solas being the good pet, he starts putting books away, no?
Solas
I
can't
would,
read any of
but,
the
I can't
spines.
read their language, so I would mess just
Look at
their
numbers. They got numbers in them?
organization.
They do have numbers, but you don't understand the cataloging technique.
It's not just the numbers. I would have to know also the alphabet.
Somebody has to spell the constant haste effect on these guys. It's weird.
So, after 2
Oh,
hours,
setting.
the gnome does return, and he says, I have checked with the dean, and the dean is okay so long as none of the material is removed from the basement.
Okay.
Could you
Please
then,
thank the dean
lead,
next time you see him.
yes, could you lead us to those notes and help us with our research?
Oh, I could certainly lead you to the basement, but no, I would not be able to help you, unfortunately. My work here in the library is much too important for me to take time away.
Clearly, he's lost 2 hours already.
It's just that none of us read Tinker Gnome.
Yes, I see how that would be a problem. He's already been leading you to the basement, and you arrive at the doors and are descending the stairs as you've told him this. The chamber opens up after you go down, and you stand at the edge of a truly massive room. It is about 30 feet tall, and there are shelves and boxes and books and papers everywhere. You could probably fit, minus the masts, your dolphin shuttle in this room with plenty of room to spare.
It's a shame I don't have locate object memorized.
Well, unfortunately, none of the material down here is cataloged. That is something that we plan to get to soon.
I see.
Is soon within the next few weeks?
Probably
I think
not.
soon will be more like the next couple of decades.
Oh god.
There is a large amount of material here. And at a quick glance at the nearest stuff, it does appear to have notes on it in Tinkergnomish.
Yeah, that's what I was afraid of.
We might need to hire some gnomes to read through this for us.
Could we possibly just try looking ourselves at their sky?
You certainly could. It's nighttime by now. But there's a lot of objects out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is why it would be good to get in their observatory.
Yeah.
Even so, without an idea of where to look, it's a big sky.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, here's an idea.
Uh-oh.
It's not a bad idea. Just because it's my idea doesn't mean it's a bad idea. If there's a phlogiston river that comes from forge space to spiral space, then presumably it comes in at a certain point on the crystal sphere wall.
Mm-hmm.
So perhaps we only need to search that part of the sky, which would still be a lot of objects, but wouldn't be the entire crystal sphere's sky.
There is always a possibility that some other thing has affected its course in the crystal sphere.
Yeah, that's true. But what I'm saying is that could narrow down our search area.
Mm-hmm.
You could try it. I mean, Higgimus does have a spyglass. It's nowhere near as powerful as what you presume they would have here, but that would be something.
Yeah, we can try it. It's not a waste of time, at least.
Higgimus keeps that on the ship, though, doesn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Would you have kept it? Would you have left it on the dolphin, or would you have brought it with you on the dolphin shuttle?
Shuttle.
Okay.
It would be on the shuttle.
Okay.
And
I mean, you
could
could certainly go from there, or you could go out to one of the hills out beyond the town. Although you did notice some herds of creatures out there when you were coming down.
Now, if you look at that poem, it says that the gnomes have seen what we want to see.
Yeah.
And we have to speak to them.
Yeah, which is why I wanted to see these notes of the observatory discoveries.
Are you talking about this openly in front of the gnome?
Yeah.
At the mention of poem, he says, "Oh well, if you have a poem, if you have questions about a poem, there you could always go to the College of Poetry Studies and Carrot Growing."
Oh, thank you. But
Poetry studies and carrot growing.
Hey, you wouldn't think they have much in common, but they actually do. And he goes into a little bit of a spiel about what they have in common.
Solas just
you don't think that he's quite getting
fascinating.
it, though. Like, you're like, I'm not sure that those are really things in common.
Which
Yeah,
is
but
why
how many-
Solas thinks it's fascinating.
How many people would understand poems that relate to objects in the sky of Iron Piece?
Well, I mean, you'd have to ask them.
So you wouldn't have any people here that understand poems.
We study the night sky, not poems here. Like I said,
Yes,
you'd have to go to the
yes.
College of Poetry Studies and carrot growing.
Right. So there's no poetry about astronomy conducted here.
That's just silly.
Okay. Well,
Do you know?
maybe there's another Tinker Gnome facility with experts in poem astronomy.
Those two things have nothing in common, unlike astronomy and soup preparation or poetry and carrot growing.
You didn't happen to have something of his that he left here, like a favorite quill or something? I'm just thinking that the scent might be tracked to his notes if we can find the same scent.
Well, I mean, I'm sure that there are things like that in his notes. He kind of spreads his arms to the enormous room. Somewhere in here.
Is this all of
who
his
knew
notes?
Who knows?
Oh no, this is everyone's notes. Who these are notes. This is you get the impression that this room holds stuff from many individuals.
Okay, so how do we find the correct notes in amongst all these notes?
Who was his
does
best
each
friend?
individual know?
How you find it would be up to you, but it would basically require like reading the boxes to start with.
Okay.
I mean, they haven't cataloged any of this.
Unfortunately, I
just
really
wondered
must
if
return to my duties now. But
Well-
you are welcome to look around through here. But do not take anything.
Thank you very much for your time.
What would happen if Priest Lock was cast on Doss who's trapped in here? So he can't return to his duty. Forced to comply.
Do you want to do that?
No.
How obvious is that spell? Well,
So he ascends the stairs and leaves you in this enormous chamber full of boxes and papers and notes and books and things like that.
Right.
And no one reads Tinker Gnome.
No, and there's a lot of stuff to look through here.
Yeah. I was thinking about asking if one of the deceased friends was in this institute and if we could have had a chat.
Mm.
We should have asked him if he had any distinguished style of writing or something that was unique about him.
Well,
Like
that's
he
why
writes in only in silver-coated books.
Well, that's why I was thinking about asking if there still were his friends in here, because they would know best, most likely.
Well, do you want to go look in the night sky or see if we see anything, or go see these poetry people, or see if we can find out who's got the telescope and bribe them into looking for something for us?
We still would need to have some kind of clue as to where in the night sky we need to look.
Well, I think we should start off looking in the direction of the portal to the Floodstone River we came back in.
It's still quite a large area.
Higgimus is a navigator, isn't he?
Mm-hmm.
So he'd know that part of the sky.
But it's not bad idea still to try with the spyglass.
Oh, I'm not saying we could find it alone, but I'm saying that will be, if it's going to take so many days to search each area of the sky and we start there,
Mm-hmm.
Mind you, things can drift.
Yeah, one reason why I wanted to see the notes was because it might be mentioned in there, and it would quite possibly cut down the time needed to search the night sky.
Yeah. There's
Quite
also
a bit.
this thing of another sun's shed,
Yeah.
which sounds like it's the color of a star that isn't present in a sun. Sounds like it's got the light of a sun that isn't the sun in this crystal sphere. So that might make it reflect an unusual color or have an unusual glow.
Mm.
Like if all the I don't know whether all the stars in spiral space are blue, but if there was a red star and all the other stars are blue, that might be what we're supposed to look at.
There
Something
are a
different,
multitude of colors in the stars.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, most of them look white from when you're down on a planet and and stuff like that. But as you get closer, they take on different shades and stuff like that. So it does sound like you guys aren't sure what you want to do next. So it is about time to take our break. So we'll take the break. You guys can discuss it in between, and hopefully have a plan for when we get back in about 10 minutes.
Yeah, or be equally confused in 10 minutes.
That's entirely possible.
I think we hit a roadblock.
I mean, there's things to try. It's
There's plenty of things to try.
right. And that's the thing. You either need to make a decision on what to try or something like that. So, anyway, it's something to talk about in the break, and hopefully have an idea for when we come back. So we'll be back in about 10 minutes, everyone.